leave your heart at home, but I possibly could.
The feeling of being attached to someone else is weird.
From the girl whose body attacks itself every time she sees light,
I don't care what they do, I just want it to stop. It's been going on for way too
to the woman whose bones slowly dissolve inside her, these stories are almost impossible to believe.
Very special. 1 in 2 million, that's how special. Literally 1 in 2 million.
They include people whose skin tears open daily, whose hunger never turns off, and whose breathing stops when they fall asleep. These are not medical curiosities. They are human beings who lived through painful conditions so rare that many doctors had no answers, only uncertainty and trial and error. Photic sneeze reflex. Catherine Thornhill's life began each day in terror. Her body was a trap she could not escape, ruled by a brutal condition so strange that even doctors stared at her in confusion. She has the photic sneeze reflex, a genetic trait that was triggered when she was exposed to light. The attacks came without mercy, sudden, violent sneezes that exploded from her chest again and again, sometimes 12 times a minute. Each one hit like a punch to her ribs, stealing her breath and leaving her shaking, exhausted, and scared of the next blow. Nothing was simple. She could not speak without her voice breaking apart. She could not eat without stopping to gasp for air. Even walking across a room felt like crossing a battlefield, waiting for the next violent burst to tear through her. But the world around her made everything worse. People stared as if she were a show. Some laughed. Some whispered cruel words. No one understood the fear behind each attack or the shame that followed her everywhere. Crowded places felt dangerous. Home felt like a hiding place. Loneliness became her shadow. Doctors believe that Catherine was born with a faulty nerve connection between her eyes and her brain. In most people, light only triggers vision. In her body, light also activated the sneeze reflex by mistake. Each time her eyes adjusted to brightness, her brain sent the wrong signal and forced her to sneeze repeatedly. There is no medication that could stop it and no safe way to avoid light entirely. Every morning, Catherine wakes up knowing the attacks are unavoidable and that she would have to endure them again just to live her day. Hallermann-Streiff syndrome. Michelle Elizabeth's life has been shaped since birth by Hallermann-Streiff syndrome, an extremely rare genetic condition that disrupts normal development of the skull, face, eyes, teeth, and airway. Fewer than 250 cases have ever been documented worldwide. Michelle has 26 of the 28 known features of the disorder, which means nearly every part of her body is affected in some way. The condition creates constant medical risk and makes even ordinary daily life physically demanding. Because the syndrome interferes with early bone and tissue development, her facial bones formed in an unusual way. Doctors describe this as bird-like features. Her skull is smaller than average and her jaw did not grow fully, which reduces the size of her airway. When the airway narrows, breathing becomes difficult and at times dangerous. Her overall growth was also affected, leaving her very short in stature. The same genetic disruption affected other systems in her body. She has hypotrichosis, which means she has very little hair because hair follicles did not develop normally. Her teeth grew in abnormal shapes, leading to chronic dental problems that require repeated treatment. Cataracts formed in her eyes, making her vision cloudy and limiting what she can see. Each of these problems demands ongoing medical care. Surgeries are often necessary, and each one brings pain, long recovery periods, and the constant risk of complications. Despite these challenges, Michelle continues to fight for as much independence and normalcy as possible. Living with Hallermann-Streiff syndrome means managing pain, fatigue, and medical uncertainty every day. Her persistence and strength leave a lasting impression on everyone who meets her. Jansen's metaphyseal chondrodysplasia. Levy has one of the rarest genetic disorders in the world, Jansen's metaphyseal chondrodysplasia. It is caused by a damaging mutation in the PTH1R gene, which normally helps regulate bone growth and calcium balance in the body. In Levy's case, This mutation sends constant false signals that force his bones to grow and harden in abnormal ways. From birth, the disorder reshaped both his body and his life. Because of the faulty bone signaling, his bones grew unevenly and incorrectly. His legs became bowed, his joints stiffened, and his height remained extremely short. These changes made movement painful and unstable. The same chemical imbalance also raised calcium levels in his body, which placed long-term strain on his organs and contributed to the gradual loss of his vision and hearing. Surgeries intended to correct his bone deformities brought limited improvement and long periods of recovery, often adding pain without restoring normal function. Daily life requires constant effort. Walking causes sharp pain in his joints. Sleeping offers little relief because muscle cramps and bone pain persist even at rest. Simple activities demand careful planning to avoid injury or exhaustion. His parents live with ongoing fear and uncertainty, managing endless medical appointments, searching for rare specialists, and navigating treatments that offer only partial relief for a condition with no cure. Caudal regression syndrome. Zion was born without legs. He has caudal regression syndrome, an extremely rare disorder that affects only about 1 to 2 babies in every 100,000 births. This condition destroys the development of the lower spine, pelvis, and internal organs. For Zion, it meant missing limbs, malformed vertebrae, constant nerve pain, and a lifetime of managing incontinence. Every movement is a battle. Every task requires careful planning and strength far beyond what most people need. Surgeries filled his childhood. Each operation brought pain, recovery, and the constant fear that his body might not recover fully or might get worse. Despite everything, Zion refused to be broken. He turned his body into a weapon. He wrestled, he trained, he competed. Every prediction doctors made about his limitations was crushed under his determination. What the world saw as weakness, Zion used as fuel. He transformed pain, loss, and judgment into power. His life became a constant fight, and he refused to lose. Conjoined twins. Kendra and Malia were born joined together in a way that happens in only about 1 in 200,000 births. They had 2 separate bodies and 2 arms each, but only 2 legs between them. Their pelvis, 1 kidney, and 1 liver were shared. Their bodies were not just unusual, they were dangerous. Every day carried life-threatening risks. Breathing could become difficult, digestion could fail. If one of them got sick or injured, it could put the other in immediate danger. Separating them required a series of surgeries that were incredibly risky. Surgeons had to cut through bone, muscle, and vital organs with extreme precision. One small mistake could have been disastrous for one or both of them. After the operations, each girl kept 1 leg, but the pain did not stop. They had to manage incontinence. Their mobility was fragile. Recovery was long, painful, and filled with setbacks. Physical therapy became a daily battle that lasted for years. It took a while, but eventually they got used to the routine of it and learned to live a happy life in spite of it all. Idiopathic multicentric osteolysis. Natalia's story is even more shocking and heartbreaking. Her own body is slowly destroying itself. She lives with idiopathic multicentric osteolysis. This is an extremely rare condition with fewer than 100 known cases in the entire world. The illness makes the body absorb its own bones. The damage often begins in the hands and feet. The bones weaken, they shrink, they slowly disappear. This leaves the joints stiff, swollen, and twisted. The pain is sharp and constant. Every movement hurts. Every small task feels heavy and draining. Simple things like picking up a pencil or tying a shoe can take several minutes. Walking feels unstable because her feet do not support her weight the way they should. Her hands lose strength, which makes writing and eating difficult. She often wakes up feeling sore because her joints stiffen overnight. The condition has no clear cause, which means doctors cannot stop the bone loss. They can only try to manage the pain and slow the damage. Still, she refuses to be put down by her condition. She finds moments of laughter. She refuses to let this terrifying condition control her spirit. Prader-Willi syndrome. Camille wakes up each day trapped in a frightening and uncontrollable hunger that never shuts off. Her brain cannot understand when her stomach is full. This happens because she lives with Prader-Willi syndrome. This is a rare genetic disorder that affects the part of the brain that controls hunger, hormones, and growth. Her body sends constant hunger signals even when she has just eaten a full meal. The feeling is powerful and painful. It pushes her to keep searching for food. It threatens dangerous weight gain, type 2 diabetes, and serious heart problems. Her muscles are very weak. This is called low muscle tone. It makes walking, standing, and lifting objects extremely tiring. She gets exhausted quickly. Her body does not make some hormones correctly. This affects her height, strength, energy, and mood. Each day feels like a physical and emotional battle. She must fight the urge to eat. She must fight the fear of gaining too much weight. She must fight the frustration of a body that does not listen to her. People often do not understand how intense her hunger feels. They think it is simple, but it is not. Even with this heavy burden, Camille holds on to joy. She looks for support. She builds friendships. She keeps searching for purpose and refuses to surrender to this painful condition. Ichthyosis confetti. Natalie entered life in a way that was deeply alarming. Her entire body was covered in red, tight, scaly skin that cracked easily and caused constant pain. Doctors believe she may have been a collodion baby. This means she was born inside a thick, shiny membrane that dries out and peels away. This is often linked to severe skin disorders. She was later diagnosed with ichthyosis with confetti. Fewer than 20 people in the world have this condition. It is caused by a rare genetic mutation that affects how the skin forms and repairs itself. Her skin stays dry and itchy every day. It breaks open easily. It burns when she moves. It can get infected because the protective layer is weak. She must apply creams and ointments many times a day to keep the skin from cracking. Heat makes the pain worse. Cold air makes it sting. Even simple tasks like changing clothes or taking a bath can feel overwhelming because the skin is so fragile. Over the years, small spots of normal skin began to appear. They spread slowly and look like pieces of confetti. This gives her a small sense of hope. Life with this condition is heavy and frightening, yet Natalie keeps going. Kyphoscoliosis. Kelly's life began with a frightening reality that forced doctors and her family into shock. Her spine was twisted in 2 directions from birth. This condition is called severe kyphoscoliosis. It means the spine curves from side to side and also bends forward. Her body developed in an unusual way. She was meant to have a conjoined twin, but it never fully developed, yet she formed extra tissue. This left her with an additional arm attached to her body. These abnormalities placed intense strain on her spine, ribs, and internal organs. Her lungs never had enough space to expand fully. This made breathing difficult from childhood. As she grew older, she developed pulmonary hypertension. This means the blood pressure in her lungs became dangerously high because her lungs could not function properly. She often feels short of breath. She gets tired quickly. Her back aches every day because the twisted spine puts pressure on nerves and muscles. Walking long distances is painful. Sitting for too long hurts as well. Even sleeping can be uncomfortable because her spine does not rest in a natural position. Her condition is harsh and rare, yet her spirit remains strong and unbroken. Thanatophoric dysplasia type 2. Christopher was born into the world fighting desperately for his life. His body showed signs of Thanatophoric dysplasia type 2, one of the rarest and most fatal skeletal disorders known. His limbs were extremely short. His chest was so narrow that his lungs could not expand well. His skull had an unusual shape that added pressure to his airway and made every breath feel tight and painful. Most babies with this condition do not survive long because their lungs cannot support them. Christopher's survival was already shocking and rare. From the first days of his life, he needed constant medical attention. Breathing was difficult. His ribs and spine struggled to support his lungs. His joints were stiff. His bones caused chronic pain because they developed in an abnormal way. He spent much of his childhood in hospitals surrounded by machines that monitored his breathing and heart rate. He faced repeated infections because his chest could not clear mucus well. Moving around took great effort. Sitting upright for long periods hurt his back and shoulders. Simple tasks drained his energy. Even with these challenges, he pushed forward. He studied hard. He earned a degree. He earned a master's. He has been trying to live life to the fullest in spite of his conditions. Escobar syndrome and scoliosis. When Grace was born, her body showed clear signs of Escobar syndrome, a rare condition caused by harmful changes in the Churang gene. These changes prevented her muscles from moving normally while she was still in the womb. When a fetus cannot move enough, the joints become stuck in one position. This leads to joint contractures, which means the joints are tight, stiff, and unable to straighten or bend well. Her skin formed webbed folds between areas that did not move. Her limbs developed in abnormal shapes. Her spine curved in a severe way that created scoliosis and caused constant discomfort. Her childhood became a long series of medical visits. Doctors tried to relieve her pain. She needed braces and physical therapy to keep her joints from getting worse. Walking required effort because her joints could not support smooth movement. She felt sharp pain when she tried to lift her arms or turn her torso. Simple actions took planning because her body resisted every motion. Despite these physical challenges, her mind was sharp. She learned quickly. She used adaptive tools to complete daily tasks. She found comfort in friendships. She built confidence through therapy. Her strength and determination proved that a rare condition cannot erase courage or joy. Congenital central hyperventilation syndrome. Liam's condition turned something as simple as breathing into a terrifying fight for survival. Doctors quickly discovered that he had congenital central hypoventilation syndrome, which is a rare genetic disorder caused by harmful changes in the FOXP2B gene. This gene is supposed to help the brain control automatic breathing. In Liam's case, the gene did not work the way it should, so his brain could not send strong signals to his lungs. His body failed to breathe deeply enough, especially when he slept. This placed him at constant risk of oxygen loss and dangerous levels of carbon dioxide building up inside him. Sleep became a threat that could stop his breathing completely without the help of machines that supported his lungs. The condition did not stop at breathing problems. Liam also struggled with sudden changes in his heart rate. He faced digestive problems that caused discomfort and fatigue. His body struggled to control temperature, which made ordinary environments feel unsafe. Every day carried fear and physical strain because he depended on medical devices to stay alive. Despite all of this, Liam built a meaningful life with education, friendships, and steady joy. His resilience proved stronger than the disorder that tried to control him. Field's disease. Catherine and Kirsty Fields were born in Wales with a condition that no one could fully explain. Their bodies were struck by an extremely rare progressive neuromuscular disorder later named Field's disease. From early childhood, their muscles began to weaken and shrink. Movement became difficult. Tasks that other children completed easily became exhausting and painful. As they grew, their coordination broke down. Simple actions like picking up a pencil or buttoning a shirt became impossible. Their speech began to deteriorate. Fine motor control slipped away. Involuntary muscle spasms struck without warning. The spasms were sudden, severe, and painful. Emotional stress often triggered these attacks, leaving the sisters in agony and forcing them to remain still to recover. Over time, they lost the ability to walk and became fully dependent on wheelchairs. Communication required electronic devices because their voices could no longer form words clearly. Doctors have not identified a clear genetic cause for the disorder. There is no cure and no therapy that slows the disease. Treatment focuses on palliative care. Physiotherapy helps maintain some mobility. Pain management is critical. Adaptive communication devices support interaction. Long-term carers provide daily assistance. Despite constant pain, disability, and uncertainty, Catherine and Kirsty navigate life with resilience. Their story is a testament to courage in the face of a completely rare and devastating condition: NGLY1 deficiency. Grace Wilsey was born with a condition that turned every day into a dangerous struggle for survival. She had NGLY1 deficiency, an ultra-rare genetic disorder caused by harmful changes in the NGLY1 gene. This gene normally makes an enzyme that helps the body process damaged proteins. Without it, multiple systems in the body fail. From birth, Grace faced global developmental delays. She struggled to control her movements. Seizures attacked her unpredictably, sometimes without warning. Her liver function was weak, making her body more fragile. She also had congenital alacrima, which meant she could not produce tears, leaving her eyes dry and prone to injury and infection. Her life required constant medical attention. She needed physical and occupational therapy to maintain some mobility. Seizures were monitored and managed by neurologists. Communication devices helped her interact with her family because she could not speak clearly. Her family focused on multidisciplinary care to address each symptom, from movement to seizure control to organ support. Because there is no cure and lifespan depends on complications, Grace's family became advocates. They founded the Grace Science Foundation to fund research, biobanking, and experimental therapies. Despite unimaginable challenges, Grace became one of the most recognized faces of NGLY1 deficiency. Her life shows the power of resilience, advocacy, and determination, even in the face of a devastating multi-system genetic disorder. Epidermodysplasia verruciformis, EV Treeman. Dedi Kozwara was born with a condition that turned his own skin into a relentless source of suffering. He had epidermodysplasia verruciformis, an extremely rare genetic disorder that makes the body highly susceptible to certain types of human papillomavirus. This virus caused widespread wart-like lesions that grew into massive, thick, tree-like protrusions over his hands, feet, and other parts of his body. The growths were disfiguring and disabling. His fingers and toes became almost unrecognizable, making basic movements and daily tasks nearly impossible. The lesions were prone to infection. Recurrent infections caused pain, fevers, and further tissue damage. Doctors attempted repeated surgeries to remove the growths, but the skin would regrow relentlessly. Each surgical procedure carried risk, and repeated debridements became necessary to manage the worsening condition. Dermatologic care helped where possible, but the disease remained chronic and progressive. Socially, Dedi faced isolation and stigma. People stared and whispered. Many avoided him. Psychosocial support was as critical as medical care. HPV surveillance and long-term dermatology monitoring were necessary to track complications. His life depended on access to skilled surgeons and dedicated dermatologists. Despite decades of suffering, Dedi became known worldwide as the Tree Man, a haunting example of the physical and social challenges of one of the rarest and most striking genetic skin disorders, Hutchinson-Gilford Progeria syndrome. Hutchinson-Gilford Progeria syndrome, or HGPS, is a devastating and terrifying disorder that strikes children with the brutality of old age. It is caused by a single mutation in the LMNA gene, which produces a toxic protein called progerine. This protein damages cells and tissues, forcing the body to age at an extremely rapid pace. Children with HGPS appear normal at birth, but soon begin to suffer alarming symptoms. They fail to grow properly. Hair falls out completely. Skin becomes tight, thin, and fragile. Joints stiffen painfully, making movement difficult. Most horrifying of all, their hearts and blood vessels age decades ahead of time. Premature atherosclerosis causes arteries to harden, leading to heart attacks and strokes in the first or early teens. Life expectancy historically averages around 13 years. Sam Burns, who lived from 1996 to 2014, became the face of this cruel disease. His family co-founded the Progeria Research Foundation and worked tirelessly to enroll him in clinical trials, including treatment with lonafarnib, a drug that slightly slows the disease. Management of HGPS requires constant attention. Cardiologists monitor the heart and blood vessels. Physical therapy fights stiffness. Nutrition must be carefully managed. Clinical trials offer the only hope for extending life. Sam's courage and advocacy brought global attention, fueling research that now gives children a small but real chance to live longer. Metachromatic leukodystrophy, MLD. Tegan Romano had metachromatic leukodystrophy, a cruel and relentless disease that destroys the nervous system from within. It is a lysosomal storage disorder caused by a missing or defective enzyme called aryl sulfatase A, or other problems in the same pathway. Without this enzyme, harmful fats called sulfatides build up in the brain and nerves. This causes the protective coating around nerves, called myelin, to break down. The result is progressive and devastating damage to the nervous system. Children can lose skills rapidly in the late infantile form, while adults decline more slowly. Tegan experienced relentless motor regression, losing the ability to walk, talk, and feed herself. Seizures became frequent. Cognitive abilities vanished. Over time, she became fully dependent on her caregivers. Families managing metachromatic leukodystrophy face overwhelming challenges. Care requires constant coordination of doctors, therapists, and specialists. Medications control seizures, ease muscle stiffness, and manage pain. Physical therapy slows decline. Nutritional support and medical equipment are essential. Hospice teams provide comfort and guidance when the disease progresses. Experimental therapies and specialist clinics offer slim hope, including stem cell transplants or gene therapy, but only if delivered early. Every day is a battle against a disease that relentlessly eats away at the body and mind, leaving families to watch their loved one vanish bit by bit while navigating complex medical care and fragile hope. Stiff Person Syndrome, SPS. Rhonda Hodges suffers from stiff person syndrome, a terrifying and crippling neurological disorder that slowly takes control of the body. It is a rare autoimmune disease in which the immune system attacks the nerves, producing continuous muscle activity. Most often, antibodies called anti-JAD trigger relentless stiffness in the spine, torso, and limbs. The rigidity is painful and unyielding. Even small movements can set off violent muscle spasms. Ordinary actions like standing or turning can cause terrifying falls. The disorder brings severe functional impairment, leaving many trapped in bed or wheelchair-bound. Anxiety and depression often follow, feeding the isolation and fear. Treatment is complex and intense. Doctors use medications that calm the nervous system like benzodiazepines, muscle relaxants, and immunotherapies such as IVIG or plasmapheresis. In the most severe cases, drugs are delivered directly into the spinal fluid through an intrathecal pump. Rhonda Hodges, bedridden for years, regained the ability to walk after targeted intrathecal therapy in a documented Australian case. Her recovery shows that even in the darkest stages, specialist multidisciplinary care can bring dramatic improvement. Stiff person syndrome remains life-altering and frightening, but with precise medical intervention, it is possible to reclaim movement, function, and some freedom from the relentless grip of the disease. Harlequin ichthyosis. Harlequin ichthyosis is a devastating and terrifying genetic skin disorder that attacks the body from birth, even more rare than ichthyosis confetti. It is caused by mutations in the ABCA12 gene, which stops the skin from transporting fats properly. Without these fats, the skin forms thick, hard, diamond-shaped scales that cover the entire body. Babies are born with severe skin tightness, making movement painful and restricting breathing. The skin cracks easily, leaving openings for deadly infections. They are at constant risk of dehydration because water escapes through the damaged skin. Survival beyond the first weeks was once almost impossible. Nellie Shaheen, a survivor, lives with relentless challenges every day. Her skin requires constant care with emollients to stay soft and prevent tears. She must be monitored closely for infections. Specialized teams of doctors manage her care, including dermatologists for her skin, nutritionists to maintain health, and physical therapists to support movement. Daily life is a struggle with ongoing pain, frequent medical interventions, and the challenge of social adaptation. Yet, with intensive care and modern treatment, survivors like Nellie can live meaningful lives. Harlequin ichthyosis is brutal, unrelenting, and life-threatening, but targeted care and multidisciplinary support offer a fragile but real hope against its relentless grip. Fowler syndrome. Iofi Madden lived with Fowler syndrome for years, a rare and frightening condition that primarily affects young women. In this disorder, the urethral sphincter muscle fails to relax, leaving the bladder full but making it impossible to urinate. This causes constant pain, pressure, and the frightening risk of urinary infections or kidney damage. Iofa required careful medical monitoring and specialized interventions to manage this relentless problem. Catheters, medications, and therapies were necessary to relieve the bladder and prevent dangerous complications. The condition is unpredictable, with sudden episodes of extreme discomfort and urgency that disrupt schooling, social life, and sleep. Families and caregivers must stay vigilant, providing support and adaptive strategies to maintain independence and quality of life.